Before we get started, I'd like to apologize in advance if anything gets out of frame or out of focus. This is my first real YouTube video. Hope you enjoy. Hey, I'm Shoob, and this is the first time I've ever filled a sketchbook. My sister got me a sketchbook for Christmas, and I haven't really used a sketchbook in a couple of years now. At least not one like this. And before I would just do, random drawings, pictures I wanted to make, but this one has a bit of a meaning to it, and I wanted to share it. My sister gave me this sketchbook, and well, there's 2 pages left in it, and when I finish it, I'm going to give it back to her as a gift. Something to remember me by. This is just a front page. I wasn't really thinking much. I didn't know what this would become. Most of this is just song lyrics, so there's some deeper meaning, but don't think too far. This is the Fine Forgotten. It's something my best friend came up with, or at least told me a couple years ago. I never really understood what he meant, but I interpret it as people have 2 deaths, You die once when you go in the ground, and you die a second time the last time your name is said. When you're forgotten, you're just like everybody else in history, and in that way, I guess we're all equal. This is just bottles, bubbles, and an ocean of liquor. I used to struggle with drinking. It never got to anything severe, but there would be times when I began my school year at trade school, and I would just, at the beginning of the weekend, I would hit up the liquor junction. I'd buy a liter of Smirnoff, and that stuff would be gone by the end of the night. And I would just say profoundly stupid things, like I can't even remember them. It was just jumbled nonsense by the end of the night. And I'm just glad I never offended or hurt any of my friends. Some of them were concerned, and they can rest easy, know that I'm taking it easy now with drinking. This is the Insomniac Fox. It's kind of like a kitsune from Japanese mythology, because I've always struggled with sleeping my whole night. When I was a little kid, it was so hard to sleep that I would just be laying in bed, squishing my head between 2 pillows. And eventually they put me on medicine that would help me sleep, and that helped until around I was a teenager, when I wasn't taking medication, and my sleep schedule would be erratic. I would be falling asleep at maybe 9 o'clock in the morning and waking up around 8 o'clock at night. I would be up all hours of the night just doing random stuff. I'm really grateful for my internet friends, though. They kept me company through that time. Here we have a skull, eyeballs, and teeth. And those are going to show up a lot in this sketchbook. Skulls, I'm always perplexed by the idea of death. Teeth, because, they're like an interface. You breathe out of your mouth, you sing through your mouth, and you speak with them. And without your teeth, people who've had their teeth removed and don't have dentures have a tough time speaking. So I hold great importance to the ability to speak, because I struggled with it when I was a kid. And eyeballs, because when I was young, I was diagnosed with a sort of autism spectrum disorder, and eyeballs always intimidated me. I could never look anyone in the eye until I was an adult, maybe even a little bit later. And they're like the window to the soul. And for some reason that really scared me. This is a symbol from Kingdom Hearts, or at least my adaptation of it. And it says, hurting people hurt people. Because when you're at a dark place, say after a breakup, after you missed an opportunity, after a loved one dies, you're in a dark place, and it's hard to be your normal self. I was pretty abrasive to some of my friends when my mother's fiance died, because he died the night after I was supposed to see him. and we always had a strange relationship. He said something that kind of hurt me back in the day, and I never forgave him for it, and I wanted to go to forgive him, but I couldn't make it. I didn't have a car at the time, so I was relying on other people, and I guess that concludes that story. This is based off of a picture I saw somewhere, but I can't really remember. I think it was Google. But Dr. I Can't Tell If I'm Not Me is from Miracle Musical, which is by Tally Hall, in case you don't know. And the scary thing about going crazy is that you don't think you're crazy, and nobody can convince you that you are. And nobody could convince me until things got a little bit out of hand. All the rain comes down the same, but not a drop can stake its claim. Down they pour with millions more to the floor with no name. When I was a teenager, I would spend hours in the shower just laying there because it felt like a safe place. I had a tense household for a while. Me and my sisters weren't necessarily getting along. I don't want to go into too much detail about that, but it was a rough time. And this sort of reminds me of that. I was cross-hatching out a face, and this is what it wound up becoming. I was just sketching with shadows and trying to make a face, and it kind of looked like a dead guy, so we'll all be laughing with you when you die. This was my childhood home. This was the home where I learned to drive. This was the home where I made most of my internet friends, where I met my best friends from high school, where I met friends from middle school, and it's gone now. But the best you can do about a memory like that, I think, is try not to focus about it all the time. Try not to focus on the things you've lost, but be grateful for the fact that you got to have them. This one's just like it's like a frame from a Johnny Jash music video. This is from Johnny Jash lyrics too. Languish in the numbers, falling under, drowning in the code. The questions we have pondered, time we've squandered, don't you feel we're owed? You spend a lot of time in your life thinking, dreaming about the things that you should be doing. Like, I should get a job, I should get back to school, I should move, I should get into a relationship, or other opportunities, like I should make an investment, or, discover a new hobby. And most people don't have the time for that, or maybe they have too much time and they're afraid of a new experience. And people like to think about thinking about doing things. So I guess it's about wasted time when you could be putting in effort to strive towards a goal. This is Duran Duran lyrics, and guy smoking a cigar, the headlights of my first car, stars, and I was studying hands at the time. I think I did all right. All we are is an isle of flightless birds. Your goals seem like they're out of your reach sometimes, like you're trapped in a situation. Like, for example, how I was in 2019, how at the beginning of that year I didn't have a car, I couldn't get a job, I couldn't go to school, and I was just at home all the time by myself. And that will drive you a little bit crazy, but if you put energy into moving forward, like, you can save up for a car or a bike or public transport if you live in a city, and apply to as many jobs as you can if you don't already have one. And somebody's gonna call back. Put together a resume, maybe a cover letter. Indeed is a good website for that. This is from Cover Me from Depeche Mode. The music video is about the lead singer being in an astronaut suit and going to space, so I drew a lunar shuttle. I drew this in under a minute because I was very stressed. But the worst kind of diseased mind is one filled with jealousy. You don't want to deal with people who are constantly jealous, because you can't really share your accomplishments with them. They can't be happy for you, because if they're only worried about having things for themselves, they're just going to be absorbed in that. And you don't want to surround yourself with people who don't care about you. My friend drew this. It was based off of the other one. I really like how you can draw on black ink with a white gel pen. Makes the stars and hearts like that. This is album art for Depeche Mode. I sort of copied it. I'm not using it to get any sort of clout or anything, so I don't see much wrong with it. This, 16 Rings of a Tree, because I feel like 16 was one of the best years of my life. I was still in my childhood home. My best friend was hanging out with me all the time. My family wasn't fighting. We were all together. It was good. This is basically a jumbled up mess of bones. It's song lyrics. This is what the lyrics made me think about, is a skeleton being twisted and warped. Basically crumpled up into a ball, I guess. This is a robot. There isn't really much to say. He's just a creepy little dude. And I had a lot of fun drawing this. My dad's girlfriend and my other friend says this kind of looks like a propaganda poster, and I can see what they mean. How can I save my little boy from Oppenheimer's deadly toy? There are external factors beyond our control that could destroy us at any moment, like a natural disaster. I know nobody really thinks about it, but nuclear war, another war happening. I think we're headed towards World War III, but I don't want people to be worrying and stir up, panic, so I'm not really going to talk about it, but suddenly everything could be gone, and that's sort of a scary idea. This is the tunnel of time. You're constantly moving forward. You can't get back what you've lost, and there are hands ahead of you that are controlling everything, and you may have little influence. Nothing will stop the passage of time. This is just Japanese scenery. I just felt like drawing it. This is supposed to be a model. It means she does what she can for a camera, and she sells her image for a consumer product, like in a magazine. This was like a freehand I did looking at geishas. Now this, I was looking up imagery for this song. It's a 21 Pilot song. And look right here. I came up with this happy little dude. It's Sparkø, the friendly sleep paralysis demon. I commissioned art of him before, and he shows up later in this sketchbook. This is Hambo from Adventure Time. I always loved that show. I watched it a little bit as a kid, but I feel like I watched it more as an adult. Never let go of some childish things, because life isn't meant to be taken seriously. It's a joke. If you take it seriously, you've lost. This was just some sort of abstract CPU socket. I like building computers. I don't get to do it very often because I haven't really taken off in my career yet. I'm going to trade school, so hopefully I can build another one soon. This is Sparkø. And this means ink, because Sparkø is made of ink. He can draw with his claws. Here he is smoking a doobie. And he's basically he shows up in your dreams, and if he doesn't like you, he eats you, I guess. Like a rabid dog. I don't know. I never really thought too deep about it. Lost in the sauce. Just like that Terminator thumbs up sinking into the sauce. This is based off of a Caretaker song, because Lebec's delay in psychology is The split second it takes for you to feel pain after it's happened. I wasn't really thinking of anything deep when I made that. This is my teacher. This is just abstract stuff I drew based off of the way the sunlight was coming in through the room where I drew it. And I turned it around and started drawing more lines as the shadows turned. This is Sparkø again. He's like gazing into the bottle, like how I would when I got home from school. But I don't really feel that temptation anymore because I've cut out hard liquor. I'm doing pretty good right now. Also, I forgot to point out he has a red halo because Sparkø's dead. This is the silhouette of my car, or at least my Jag, on a highway. Rainy at night. I used to work a warehouse job from like 1 in the morning till like 9 in the morning. And I really liked it. There would be nobody on the roads. You could just shut off your mind and sort packages. It was great. A lamplight. This is based off of a drawing I made when I was in the hospital for mania. And I don't know, it's just like this refinery facility out in the Alps. I just thought it was cool. Now this, I drew this inspired off of something that Codsworth said in Fallout 4, and I've played a lot of that game and I never heard him say this. When you go to Hangman Alley with him, he says, "Blimey, what a bit of wind, weed, and rain will do to a place." So we have wind, weed, and rain. It's not much deeper than that. The Underground Union of Glassblowers. This is based off of a song that I was working on that I never finished, but I really liked it. It was like trance house, I guess, which isn't my normal style anymore. But I had fun drawing these guys. My sister sees these guys and says they're Nico and the Niners. This is from a poem I came up with. One day he saw it, a quest to gain more influence. On a quest for knowledge, all he found was ignorance. Who knew he wouldn't like what he'd see? A reality that couldn't be. A string of jokes unfurled. He woke up in clown world. I'm not really a political guy, so this doesn't have to do with that, but I feel like society is becoming really crazy. And sometimes even when I look in the mirror, I see shit like this. This is a lighter my ex gave me. We've been thinking about getting back together, but nothing serious yet. I still have it somewhere. I put nothing last because I lost it under my desk, and when I picked it up it was covered in scratches. View out my window in my childhood home. This was one of the cars I had. I had a CRV and it was the best car that I've ever owned. Like, even having had Jags and stuff, I like something I can depend on, and this car never broke down on me. Just a skull with like, I don't know, bug's eyes and horns and a crown. With more song lyrics. This was just like an abstract, spooky butterfly. I didn't really put much effort into this one. I don't have much to say about it. It's just like a tropical little area. This is a Depeche Mode song, along with my dream car, which I tried to draw, but it doesn't really look like it. Like the 1959 Cadillac Eldorado Barrettes. It's like the 50s car with the biggest tail fins out there. These are just, it's a forest with a river, I guess. It's an axolotl. This sketchbook is for my sister, and this is her favorite animal. This is based off of Tyler Joseph's tattoos, and the caption is an AI-generated thing from 2018 before it all went like as advanced as it is today. It was all jokes back then. Contemplate that you are met with resistance and remember to be irrational. No one believes me because it's all impossible to prove. That's a Rusty Cage song. And one time my friend looked at me and made this face. I took a photo of it, and I still have it, so I drew it. And I blacked out his eyes. It's kind of mean of me, but makes a good drawing. Bats, birds, the moon, fits the song lyrics. This is like an abstract representation of my persona. So I don't want this channel to really be a furry themed one, but just know that I am one, and I'm one of the chiller kind. I don't scream furry, if you know what I mean. Mountains, trees, rain, clouds, ponds. Shoob's eyes. This is rain on a mountaintop at night, I guess. Vaporwave aesthetic. I love like 80s, 90s vaporwave stuff, synthwave stuff. Like my main music style is synthwave now, and I've been posting a little bit of it. Hopefully I'll be making more if I have the time. This, my friend from school, I let him draw on this, and he's just been making like graffiti like this, and I really like his style. This is just a jungle. This is just basically Australia. More of my friend's drawings. This one's like a little bit complicated, and it goes on to the next page. His tag is Sir Help. So it all says help. It's Renaissance. Futuristic city, futuristic blimp. Doesn't get much better than this. Graveyard with MGMT lyrics. I think I used this in one of my recent songs as like a picture. But yeah, I really like graveyards. I live across the street from one, and they're a really peaceful place, even though they may seem creepy. They're really not. But, yeah, just a guy vaping. I like to vape. Helped me quit cigarettes, and maybe I'll stop vaping someday, but helps me with stress. Hotel pool. I always thought those were a vibe. This is my copy of album art by Windows 96. The song is Caligula. I recommend you listen to it if you like synthwave. It's like some of the best I've ever heard. And this was inspired by the last one, Alpine. I was just drawing a mountain with trees, and there's this really big redwood. The moon. Nothing much to say. This is inspired by Missio, or Missio. I don't know how to pronounce their name, but I have a story about when this song came out, and I watched the music video, but that's for another time. This was originally supposed to be the singer from Missio, but I don't think it really looks like him, so I call him the hoodie guy. And he's kind of like a metaphor for me, I guess. He isn't supposed to be me, but I always like to spend time alone. I enjoy time with friends, but like, I feel like when I'm alone, I create the best things that I have. Another thing my friend drew. The hoodie guy again. Life is like Tetris. My time is precious. And the older I get, the more I realize that's true. If you want to do something, you have to have time for it. And when you're even older and you have kids, like I don't have kids, but if you do, you really have to plan ahead. Who's going to take care of them if you want to go out someplace? If you want to go out, get the groceries, somebody has to stay home from work and take care of them, you know? This is an Umbreon. It's my favorite Pokemon. This is just like some random thing I started drawing, like a teddy bear head, missing an eye, chainsaws, axes, the Five Nights at Freddy's music for some damn reason. Something was on my mind that day. One of my friends drew this one. It's a guy in some kind of coil, and it's electrocuting him. It's kind of screwed up. This is my persona ascending. Like, here's the star, and he's just lifting up. This is the happy road. Back when I lived out west in the center of the state, there's a road called Route 119, and I would take it all the way north into New Hampshire. And I would stop at this big old gas station, get all sorts of ice cream, candy bars, cigars, vape stuff. And I started to know some of the people there. I would get energy drinks and that stuff, and I would call it my happy road. I'd take it from home to there and back, and it would be about an hour and a half trip. Well, more like an hour, but still. Black raindrops. I don't know, I just really like the night and I really like the rain, even though I'm a morning person. Like, something's peaceful about both the rain and the night. It's soothing. You've almost convinced me I'm real. This is a robot I came up with called the Anvil Head. And I think he needs a redesign, but I really like the head. I came up with him around 2018, and I've been drawing him ever since. The grabbing hands grab all they can. Like, if you're in a music industry, you know, all the record labels are gonna try to take money, the advertisers are gonna try to take money, the radio stations are gonna try and take it, you know, which is what the song was about. It was about the music industry, but even in the adult world, you know, you gotta pay taxes, you gotta pay utilities, you gotta pay rent, and you gotta pay for your car, and your subscriptions, and it leaves you with way less money than you started with when you got your paycheck. But it gets better over time, I hope. This is just a sun and a star, a moon and a star. Minecraft bed, sunset, on an ocean, walking on water, I guess. My friend told me to draw this. It's like a seal on a beach and a guy's just hanging out and he says, "What are you doing here?" This is Shoob, my persona, smoking a cigarillo. To song lyrics, I guess. I really like this one, so I set it as my YouTube profile picture for the time being. This is like, I used this for Sapphire Grove. Running, searching, just to find a thing or two that once was true, is basically life. Some people can't let go of the past, and I struggle with it too. But it's just a forest, mountains, the sun, clouds swirling around it. This is Shoob drawing the car from earlier. It's kind of cursed. It's like half Cadillac, half Jaguar. And it has a two-tone interior for some reason. And it's like 119. There's lakes, pine trees, mountains. This is based off of another drawing I made when I was crazy. I'm gonna see if I can find it. Oh, it was on the first page the whole time. But I don't really know what to say about this one. I was crazy at the time. It's just what I was thinking at the time, I guess. But I copied it, and now my sister has a copy of it. When me and my friend Caleb were smoking, we were just thinking of all the silliest stuff. Like, we were blazing it up. And this was years ago, and he says, "What if there was a place called Chameleon?" And randomly I remembered it, so I drew a place called Chameleon. Better to be laughed at than wrong. This is like Lemon Demon lyrics, but it's a symbol for organization from this fiction I've been writing called the Law Crave Syndicate. It's like they were a resistance movement, right? But they wind up creating a society that is debatably worse than the one they were rebelling from. And I don't know, I find that ironic. Self-sabotage is a sweet romance. It's a little bit graphic, I guess, but it's what I thought I could draw to the lyrics. And this was my first car. I had a 02 Jaguar X-Type. Had a 5-speed manual transmission. and I named it Bagheera after the panther from the Jungle Book. It's weird to name a jaguar, which is a cat from India, after a panther, which is a different cat from South America, but I did it. 16-year-old me didn't know the difference, and that's where we leave off. So, I hope this was interesting. Hopefully I'll make more drawing videos, maybe somewhere I actually draw instead of just explain, but anyway the wind blows, I guess. Thanks for checking out my video, and I'll see you soon. Hey, this is my first video and I hope you enjoyed it. I played the piano music in the background, and I also made the music you're hearing now. I plan on making more drawing and music videos in the future with stories, so if you're interested in that, I suggest subscribing. If this video interested you, I'd appreciate a like because it helps me in the algorithm. Have a good one, and see you soon.